Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the G Perspective. I am your host, George Michael Perez, aka GMike. You guys know where you can follow me on Twitter at GeorgeMike Perez, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at GMike Media _. And for the podcast listeners, for the audio listeners, the podcast is under the G Perspective on all podcast platforms. Today, we have a special episode because we're changing gears a little bit with this one. We're not going into specific topics and current events that have been going on in the sports world. Today, we jump into an interview with one of my longtime friends where he speaks on his beginning stages of playing basketball to where he is now playing professionally overseas. This friend of mine, he's a hard worker, very disciplined, and he knows what it takes to get to the top. His name is Kevin O'Brien, and I really hope that you guys enjoy this interview just like I did. Now, let's get to it.
Man, what's up, everybody? Happy to be here. My name's Kevin O'Brien. I'm from Miami, Florida. George and I go way back to, I think, middle school. We went to middle school together. Yeah. So definitely we've known each other for a long time, but back home in Miami, I'm excited. I'm excited to do the podcast. Working my way back from knee surgery, obviously just in the first couple of weeks of that, but I've been down this road before, so I know what to expect. So I'm looking forward to that as well. But yeah, just happy to be here.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. And later on, we'll get into more of the knee surgery and stuff. But real quick, are you doing anything else right now that, you know, that's on your top priority list right now? Like
Yeah, I mean, right now, obviously is priority number one is to get healthy. I think just simple, you know, if you just put basketball aside, just simple day-to-day tasks like, you know, being able to get up and walk without the crutches, all that stuff's really difficult. You know, it's a tough surgery. It was a long surgery. I actually got it done when I was out in Norway, and my parents were able to come out there for me, which I was really thankful for. I don't know what I would have done without them, but yeah, so definitely priority number one is to get healthy. But aside from basketball and stuff, there's definitely a lot of other areas I'd like to tap into now that I'm here for a little bit, you know, doing my recovery and stuff. So hopefully I'll have the time to get around to those kind of things.
No, yeah, for sure. You'll have that time. You know, it's all about being patient and working hard like you're doing, man, staying on the grind. But definitely. You touched on a little bit about your parents. When you were a child, were your parents a big influence on you playing basketball, or it was just found a different way?
I think it was kind of a combination of both. I think I just fell in love with it immediately from a very young age, maybe 5 years old. But my parents, obviously, they did whatever they could to help me. They put me in leagues like Tamiami and stuff like that, you know, every little kid just enjoys playing, and whether it's the baseball or the football. My catch was the basketball, and I fell in love with it really young. They supported me all the way up. We're always at my games from the time I was 5 till, I mean, if I have a game here in Miami, they'll be there. You know, so the support has always been there. It's been constant the entire time, through the good, through the bad, which is always reassuring, especially when you're going through a process like this. So, yeah, I'm definitely fortunate to have a great parents and also just a great family in general. My brothers and my sister are exactly the same way. They support me the same way. So, real close-knit group, and I'm definitely thankful for that. I don't think I could have made it to the levels that I've made it at without that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Always having a good support system behind you is what's going to keep you going. And not everybody has like a good, loving family, like, you know, both of ours. So that's good. And, you know, you got to pray to God to that and obviously Absolutely. Be grateful. When it comes to being a basketball player in your childhood, first I want to touch on how, because, you know, when we play, there's a lot of repetition going on, and that's how you really fall in love with it when you keep playing and playing and playing. But there's some people that get that just one spark, that one game, that one event that just happened, and it just made them fall in love with the game. Would you say that you're one of those people?
You mean just like in general, like what made me fall in love so much with the game? Is that kind of what you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely remember watching a lot of basketball when I was young, when I was a kid. And when I was 5 in particular, it was a later night and the Lakers were playing, and it was Kobe and Shaq on the Lakers. And I just instantly, it's almost like everything was written after that. Like I knew what I wanted to do. I knew who I wanted to be like. They were for sure my biggest inspirations when I was young. And I just fell in love with the game immediately after that. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And it's like, I just couldn't keep my eyes away from the thing. I think that's so interesting that, usually that happens when you're a kid. Kids have dreams, things they want to do, how they can just see something and gravitate towards that and just fall in love with it, without even really knowing so much about it. I saw it and I just couldn't take my eyes away from it, and it's just remained the same ever since. So I'm definitely lucky to have found that passion and continue to pursue it.
Yeah, for sure, and you're still with it, of course. So what you went to Rockaway Middle School? Obviously, I went to Rockaway Middle School with you, and you were a pretty good ball player. And I think some of us already knew, some of your teammates and some people around the school already knew that you were gonna go ahead with basketball and you were gonna do something big with it. So you end up going to Columbus, and I heard a lot. I didn't go to a lot of games, but I heard a lot, and you were doing well, and you were doing your thing. But for the folks out there that don't know, what was that career in Columbus like?
I definitely think that my time in Columbus is what shaped my mentality to move on everywhere else. Having to deal with some of the adversity and stuff that I had to go through with not being able to play for my first couple of years. The only year that I really got to shine and display what I could do was really my senior year. I had to wait my turn, for whatever reason that may be, whether it's, I wasn't ready, or individually I felt like I was ready. I put in the work. I love to work. I used to be in my front yard, playing on the basket outside all day, all night. As soon as school was out, I was out there. It's what I love to do. But I didn't get my opportunity until my senior year. And then thankfully, when that time came, I was ready for it. Everything kind of just worked its way since then. But I definitely remember just having a lot of hard times and a lot of tough times to overcome, tough adversity, and just having to really consider and think maybe this isn't for me or whatever. But that all goes back to the support system and fit and family and friends and people that believe in you, and ultimately believing in yourself too. I always knew that if I was given the opportunity that I could show people what I can do. And usually when that confidence combines with a good work ethic, then it all comes to fruition. So again, I had to wait my turn. I know a lot of other kids and stuff. I know things are a lot different now. Like, when things don't go your way, the easy thing to do is to transfer, to change schools, which I also considered. I won't sugarcoat. It's not like I just tried to stick it out the whole time. I went through some really tough times to the point where I considered leaving, but I knew that the success that I wanted, the success that I had imagined, was always supposed to happen at Columbus. I wanted to be the guy there. I wanted it to work there, and I had to wait for it. But like I said, ultimately it worked out. And I think that building those blocks and being able to overcome those things is what shaped me to be able to move on and deal with some of the other tough times that I've endured in my career, such as times at Santa Fe, at Lynn, even now in the pros, going through a surgery like this. My mentality is already shaped in a way to look forward and, continue to work and just stay ready for when the opportunity comes.
Yeah, yeah, no, and if you guys don't know, Columbus is one of the top high schools down in South Florida. So you thinking about going to a different school from a top collegiate school? What were the other schools that you're thinking about going to?
For high school, you mean?
Yes.
So when I was in high school, leaving around my junior year or something, when I didn't get too much time, I had been playing travel ball with the MYBO Warriors, and that team mainly consisted of guys that either already went to or transferred to Archbishop Carroll, because our coach was the head coach there as well. So there was kind of this somewhat of a plan to get everybody over there. And I know I was kind of the one like just holding back because I wanted to go to Columbus. My big brother went to Columbus. We wanted that for this family, for all of us to go through the sea and to graduate. And ultimately, it kind of came to a point where it was like, we almost have no other option. The kid wants to play. My parents were trying to support me in that. And so we almost made that move to Archbishop Carroll. And thanks to a few other guys, AKA one of my closest friends and running mate when I was in high school, Johnny Minervino, a couple of the guys in the administration, and my family also, and our hearts always being at Columbus the whole time. I was convinced and decided to stay at Columbus for my senior year. And like I said, it all worked out the way it should have.
No, definitely,
But
definitely.
the one school was Archbishop Carroll. Now, as soon as I made it somewhat public that I was maybe looking to leave, I definitely remember there being a crazy time of a lot of schools trying to kind of cash in on something that wasn't being utilized, that wasn't being used at Columbus. And other coaches were like, well, their eyes got big thinking that I can go to their school, that those guys would give me a chance. But I think it worked out the way it should have.
No, definitely. You're in a good state right now. You still got a whole lot of promise and potential. So for sure, going forward, it's a great decision that you made. So
Yeah.
right after high school, you graduate and you got some colleges looking at you. What were
Mhm.
some of those colleges that were looking at you?
I mean, I was getting letters and calls pretty much from just about every level. The offers is was kind of was a little bit tough, and that's because I wasn't a qualifier coming out of high school. So soon enough, I had to shift and make a decision on what junior college I wanted to go to. And that's when I started taking some visits to a few schools. I took a visit to obviously Miami-Dade, to Broward, and then I got up to Santa Fe College up in Gainesville. All of them, offering full rides to come in. And for those that don't know, the JUCO route is typically 2 years at a junior college school. You get your AA degree, and then you get seen by some D1s or really good D2s, and you move on. You move on to finish off your degree, and obviously to continue playing. Whatever comes after that, it's obviously really hard at every level to continue to push forward. But I got to Santa Fe, and I was really happy with that decision. My mom went to Santa Fe and to UF, so it's kind of funny how everything came full circle. That when it was my turn to make a decision, I ended up going to Santa Fe as well. We met the coach. My mom came with me on the visit. We met the coach up there, Coach Mowry, who I'm still very close with to this day, and just got a really good feel for the place. In my mind, I thought, okay, I'm just going to go to Santa Fe. I'm going to perform the way I need to for the next 2 years. I'm going to continue to develop. I'm going to get an offer from the University of Florida, and I don't care if I have the NBA as the next offer. I'm going to Florida. Like, I wanted to be a Gator. That was my mindset, and I thought being at Santa Fe would give me the best chance for that, just because we're right down the street. So if they hear about this kid who's killing it over at Santa Fe, they would take that little drive over, come check me out. I'd get an offer, and that's how I imagined it in my head.
Yeah.
But obviously in life and in this career in particularly, things never go as planned, and you got to always be ready for them. And that's when my initial knee injuries began. On my right leg, actually, I went through back-to-back ACL injuries when I was at Santa Fe. So that was really frustrating. A really real tough time for me, as far as just going through injuries so serious like that, and having to come back from that is just really, really tough, especially for a young guy in his career who's trying to get established. I'm in a place where I need to play to be seen by other schools in order to move on. So it was really, a really, really tough time for me. But I only played 14 games in those 2 years. And in those 14 games, I was really, really good, still showing a lot of upside, but playing really well. But obviously health is a huge concern for a lot of these bigger schools. So I started to kind of get less calls from the D1 schools after the second injury. I think that there was more of like a red flag based on the health history, and rightfully so. It's a business, and they have to go about it the best way. If they're going to give a kid a scholarship, they want to be sure you'll be out on the floor. But while I was recovering from that second surgery, some D2s started calling. One in particular was Lynn University. I had taken a few other visits, but Lynn was the one that was constantly with me, constantly on me. They actually came in to Gainesville and talked to me for a little bit before my surgery, just to kind of introduce themselves and let them know, regardless, they were going to be there. And sure enough, they were. A couple months into my rehab, they brought me down for a visit. I wasn't cleared to play, but I was cleared to work out and stuff. So they put me through like a little shooting workout. No contact, no anything. So I'm just in there. I just shoot the lights out. They offered me a scholarship for the next year, and I signed it. I committed right there on the spot. For me, it was a no-brainer. Boca is a beautiful, beautiful place. It's only an hour away from home, so I knew my family was going to be able to catch all the games. They had a huge, at the time, it's even bigger now, but at the time they had the biggest brand endorsement in Division II with Adidas, which was at the time 1.4 million. And don't quote me on this, but I think now it's somewhere along like 4.3 million. And we don't have a football team at Lynn or anything, so you have to imagine that all this money goes into all our other programs, which was super dope for us. So yeah, it was almost a no-brainer. Not to mention, we also had I didn't know this before, but when I got to campus, my assistant coach, Coach Norwood, who he's coaching out in California right now, first place he took me to was the cafeteria, which is open 24 hours a day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they got chefs working and stuff like that. So I was just like, yeah, okay, where do I sign at? Like, let's get it over.
No brainer at that point.
Come on. Like, where else do you get that? So I went to Lynn, and yeah, that was a great decision.
Yeah, I know you're not a really cocky dude, and I know you're modest. You're very humble and stuff, because obviously you got game. I know you got game, and a bunch of us know you got game. But right now, I need
Okay.
you to be a little cocky and talk about how great you were at Lynn.
So That's the thing, man. I feel like that's a job better fit for some of the people that are there. They can speak to what I did. But you got to imagine there was a lot of nerves and anxiety from me coming into Lynn because I hadn't played in 2 years coming back from those injuries. So this was like my first shot back. Obviously, there's a lot of things going on in my head. Like, man, I hope I don't go through this again. I hope this is my first clean slate. I mean, we pretty much got it rolling as soon as I got there. I wasn't the only one. We had some good players already coming back. And we had also brought in some other good players. We had a point guard who played at FAU for 3 years, Marquand Botley. He was great. He could shoot the lights out. He can control the game. He was fast. He was aggressive. Not very tall, but he could just get it done. The guy has a 3-point record at Lynn for single season, single game. I was playing with a guy, Jamal Palmer, who was coming back for his sophomore year. He was all universe and all through high school up in West Palm. So, a lot of these other guys that I can go on and list. But for me, I started I think I started every game that first season at Lynn. And it just kind of took off. All that time off, all that rehab that I did, all the work in the gym and everything just kind of came forward. I shot the ball really well that first year. And I had 3 years to play, 3 eligible years to play while I was at Lynn. So that first year at Lynn, I think I really showed people what I can do. And then that second year, I think recruiting wise, we kind of cashed in and we brought in a lot more talent, like a lot more talent. So we're deeper in every position. But I think a hard thing that we had to deal with that group was that guys are coming from situations where they're the main option. You know what I'm saying? And myself and Jamal coming back for that following year, we felt like it was our team. So not that there was like conflict, because I felt like as a group we were tight, but there was definitely some sort of disconnect. Like not everybody was happy. Not everybody was pleased with the play time or the shots that they got. But we still kind of managed to make it work. We're just a little shaky that year, which was sad because on paper, I mean, we could have been ridiculous with all the guys that we brought in. 3 pros on that team, actually. 4 pros on that team. Now that I think about it,
that's a lot.
Yeah, and in a Division II team, that's really impressive for guys to move on to Europe. I went to Mexico, but I also played a little bit in Europe. Yeah, so when you're dealing with that, that's definitely tough. But so that year was a little bit up and down, and then I knew I had that following season to come back. Though I was graduating after that second season, and a couple, maybe 2 months or so after our season finished, I decided that after graduation that I wanted to go pro. That I wasn't trying to come back for that following year, the grad season, which Lynn moved on and went on to go play all the way up until the Sweet 16 in the tournament. And obviously that's why I'm saying it would be better fit to ask all the other guys that are affiliated with Lynn, because they could probably tell you what we could have done had I been on the team that year. But I'm a big believer in everything happening for a reason. I think it all worked out. I got my experience my rookie year that I think has shaped in my career in a positive way. It was like an early wake up call, what to expect and that kind of thing. So I feel like everybody won in that situation. But yeah, Lynn was a good time. Lynn was a good time.
I'm glad you had a good time out there, and you definitely did your thing over there. Real quick, before we keep going on, I want to touch up on the knee injury, just because in this day and age, mental health is very important, and it should be. I just want to go through what were your thoughts when you had the knee injury and you were going through that recovery process.
You mean this recent one?
The first one.
Well, the first one was tough just because I had never been through anything like that. And I think that your immediate thing is I just want to come back as soon as possible. You're not thinking like I need to take my time. I needed to recover. I definitely remember that first time me being super anxious to get to the next thing. Like when I was clear to run and cut, I ran and I cut. You know what I'm saying? When I was clear to jump, I was jumping everywhere. And when you're dealing with your body in long seasons and stuff, you got to learn to kind of just pump the brakes a little bit and let your body heal and do all those things. So I think a lot of that, the actions and things that I did in the recovery for the first one led to the second one happening. And when the second one happened, I played that one a lot more safe. I think I was out for, 10, 11 months, no contact. I definitely was doing basketball stuff once I was cleared to, but no contact or anything for about 10, 11 months. And I think that that's what helped me come into Lynn real healthy, not having any type of knee issues whatsoever. I didn't play in any kind of brace or anything like that. I felt healthy. I felt good for the first time in a while. and it showed on the court. So I think I don't know, when you're dealing with recovery, you learn a lot about yourself, especially patience. That's a big thing. That's something that I struggle with. And I'm going to have to just kind of like reread that book now in this process. But it's tough because some days you have good days and you feel good. And then other days you're real frustrated, you're down, and you wish that you could fast forward the process. But unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. And every day does count, even these little days that are nagging, that are annoying. These days count too, doing the right things, making sure you're eating the right things. That all counts, that all comes together in the end. So of course, you want to look forward to recovery and better days and stuff, but what we do now is what leads to that. So I try to keep that mindset active when I'm going through these recovery times.
Yeah, no, and you're a baller. You want to be on the court. You don't want to be on the sideline just watching your team go out there and stuff.
Of course.
But
And, now here I am at home and I still watch my team out in Norway. I still watch them play their games. They're struggling a little bit right now, which makes it even more personal, makes you feel even more like I should have been out there, but everything happens for a reason. I know it's cliche. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that
it's
from the
just
first,
facts.
second, and third one, but it is very true. Everything does happen for a reason, and I know how to get through this process. So I definitely feel confident coming into this one, as confident as I can, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you definitely have your head on straight, and you just got to take it day by day when it comes to the mental part. The anxiety is going to creep in. Sometimes you're going to feel depressed because you want to be on the court, but you just overcome it. Know that you got to take it step by step, and you're going to get to where you want to be. 100%.
For sure. Absolutely, brother.
Yeah. So after Lynn, you decide to go pro, and you go off to a Mexican team, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yep.
Yep.
I did.
How was that experience like?
Crazy. So the way that whole thing started is once I kind of communicated to my family and to my closest friends and then to my coaches that I wanted to take that step. I think a lot of people were just kind of like, well, what's waiting for you? Like, are you sure? Did I have anything lined up? And I definitely didn't have anything lined up, but just like every other step in my career, I had to kind of bet on myself. And I was really confident that I would figure this out some way or another. I trusted in my skills. I knew that I was going to work. I had a whole summer after graduation to prepare and get ready. And I obviously know how competitive the market can be, but I felt like in that realm I belonged. And so the first year I get my shot, and all it was just a deal to go to training camp. And I got this because of a close friend of mine, Ray Rodriguez, who unfortunately he had a really tough injury that same year also, because we were going to be in the same league, but he reached out to his agent, who he was a player in the Mexican league. He reached out to his agent, who reached out to Panteras de Aguascalientes, and they gave me my first shot to come into training camp. And I think they were going to pay me like $2,000 to come for 2 weeks for training camp. And at that time I was like, hey, like if anything, I make 2,000, it's 2 weeks, whatever. I just go and just show people what I can do. So I go, I'm all excited. I signed the deal. I go to camp and I end up earning a spot on the roster. And I started my first couple games there. And that was just big because that's a league. Even still, it's hard for guys that are young, that are trying to establish themselves, because these are guys that have played all over the world. Some guys used to play in the NBA. They've played in big time universities and stuff. And here I come, an American. If you know anything about overseas ball, typically teams in every country, they're only allowed 2, maybe 3 Americans per team.
Oh, okay.
So that's a really tough spot, because if you're not performing, they're going to let you go. They're going to bring in someone else. So your job is you're constantly looking over your shoulder. You got to be performing. You can't just, if your game is like defending and that's your thing, I mean, you got to be a hawk, but you also got to be putting up numbers too. That's just the only way. Or if not, they'll just bring somebody that does. You lose a game, you're already in the hot seat. And so it's really tough. Me being 22 years old, maybe 23 when I first started, that was an adjustment for sure, because when you're playing in college, you're not worried. I was never worried that the coaches were going to like take my scholarship or something if I had a bad game or a stretch of bad games. Obviously I was driven enough to know, hey, I got to work hard. I got to do the right thing so that we can be successful. But you never think, well, if I'm not playing well, he's going to pull my scholarship and give it to somebody else. But that's the case every day, every night. You never know what can happen the following day. And so I think that was the first year where I really realized, like, this is now a job. This is now like super competitive, and there's no real like loyalty in this. You know what I'm saying? The office, the coaches, none of them, they don't owe me any type of loyalty. Because just like that, they can make a decision and that can be done. And so that kind of changes your mindset a little bit into, okay, now this is the pros. Now I need to perform. Now I need to, find what it is that I do and just thrive in that role. Because not every night, you're going to be the best guy, or they're going to give you the ball and say, hey, get us out of this hole. I need you to score 30, unless they voice that to you. So you got to find your role and then really excel in that. So I think that first year playing in Mexico is really what kind of, shaped the way that I view the pro game. The pro game was different, but I didn't feel like it was like speed or anything that affected me. I felt like my game translated better in the pros, better than it did in college. Because I feel like I'm a big guy that's like a mismatch problem. I could stretch the floor because I could shoot it, but I could score inside. I can score off the bounce. I can dribble. I can make plays. So when you're 6'8", that's a good skill set to have. I feel like in college things are a lot packed in, a lot more. Things are a lot more system, coming off screens and just everything to the tee. Boom, boom, boom. Get the best shot. This is a little more attack than mismatches, and I think that suited my game a little bit better. So. But these are all things you learn during the process, being there. I had to learn this kind of like every day and just adjusting. And these guys are older. So like the margin of error is real small. They're not trying to groom you. So even though I was just a young kid starting out, to a lot of these other guys, they expect you to be ready and to perform. And so I think that kind of just lit the fire under my ass a little bit, and just kind of put me in gear, at least on what to expect.
Yeah. Yeah. So after, how long were you in the Mexican team?
So I was with Panteras the first time. I think I was with them for 3 months. Then I came home, and then my next deal was in the spring of 2019, and I went back to Mexico. I was playing for Caballeros de Culiacan, and I was with them for, I believe, another 2.5 months or something like that. Now, some leagues in different places, their seasons are smaller, shorter in months. Like the second go around when I was with Caballeros, that's like a 4.5, 5 month season. And I came in just to finish the year with them, as a replacement for somebody else. So there you go. Like the guy in front of me, I guess, wasn't getting it done. They called and brought me in just like that. Like if I wasn't doing it, they would do that for the next guy. And it's crazy. It kind of sucks because, you're building relationships with these guys. You're playing with them every single day. You're practicing. They're your boys. And, the next day they can get released or whatever the case may be. And that's it. It has no say. They don't ask you if you're okay with that or anything. It just happens. They bring in who they want to bring in. And that can make it tough. That can make it tough for sure. But I think there's like a mutual level of respect between players when they play overseas, especially Americans, because of the type of stuff that we have to deal with. So definitely there's like a big fraternity of American overseas players where we all kind of see eye to eye because of the same type of pressures and expectations laid on us. But it's enjoyable, man. If you're a great player, then you kind of search for these things. You want to be the main guy. You want to have all the responsibility. I mean, I look for it. I don't want to just be another guy that's running around. I like to be one of the main factors and stuff. I work for that. So
yeah,
it's just kind of how it works.
Yeah. No, and touching back to the support system, I mean, you got your family, you got your parents and stuff, but even with these other players that get traded away, or if not, they get let go and you could come in and stuff, you still need that support system from them too, because they're actually going through the day-to-day stuff like you are.
With you. Yeah. That's super important, and that's when it's good to have like people like to say OGs on the team. And I had a few of them my first year, so they would always keep my head up. They did a really good job with that. I think they knew the type of talent and the potential that I had, that I could tap into that. So they definitely did their part in keeping my head on straight. These are guys that have been doing it for a long time, kind of like I aspire to. So, hearing those words of confidence when things maybe weren't going so well for me was always good. And it was always reassuring and always made you want to continue to work hard because, your opportunity is going to come sooner or later.
Yeah. Yeah. So you end up playing pro with one team, you come back home, you end up playing pro with another team, finishing off the year. After that, what is next for you? What comes next?
So after Cavs in 2019, the summer comes around. I'm always back home for the summer. I do most of my training and stuff here. I play in the Miami Pro League, which is always a good test for guys, whether they're in college or in the pros, because we'll have NBA guys come and play. And it's always fun, because we put on for the community. We're definitely trying to build the hoop community here in South Florida and in Miami. And I think the Pro League has done a great job with that for the past 7 years, 8 years, or whatever it's been. It's been great having them, and hopefully it just continues to grow. And there's other types of things just like it, because South Florida, maybe some of the people listening aren't from South Florida, but we're definitely a football state. It's always been that way. It may always be that way, but at no point shall we disrespect the fact that there are a lot of good hoopers that come from this area. Even though it's hard to get recruited or noticed, there's a lot of good hoopers, a lot of talent out there. Even now, this place is just crawling with talent. So I'm glad to see a lot more attention coming on it. As far as like for these young guys being able to get seen and getting opportunities to go play in the next level, I think it's great. But following that summer, that was summer of 2019, I then signed a deal to go play in the Republic of Georgia for Dinamo Tbilisi. And that was wild because I had never been so far away from home. I had never been to Europe in my life. And that was super Eastern Europe, so just different, like it's like Soviet country. It was just a real humbling experience for me. And I spent, I believe, 8.5 months out there before our season was ended due to the pandemic. COVID really hit when we were out there. And everybody in leagues all around the world ended up going home. And I was one of those guys that sat out for the following year. So we sat out the rest of 2020, which I came home in like March or April of 2020, sat out that whole time that the pandemic was going on. I know first couple months I wasn't doing too much. It was just kind of good to be home because I had been away for so long. So much had happened that it was just good to take a step back. And then when I wanted to, all right, let's bounce back. Let's work our way back. No leagues were open. Everything was closed, and it was just a crazy, crazy time for everybody, not just basketball players, but literally everybody during the pandemic. So one humbling experience to another, but I continued to work. I got with my trainer, Torrance Seymour, Made by Seymour Results. He's amazing at what he does. He helped transform my body and my fitness level and my athleticism. And I was just working with him every day. And a lot of the other guys that I work out with in his group, most of them are football players. They play in the NFL. My boy, Buddy Howell, he's actually playing in the Super Bowl this Sunday. So, I'm rolling for the Rams, but he's in there every single day. And I think that's an interesting edge that I like. And something that I like is working out with football players as opposed to basketball players, just because I like their type of workouts. These are big guys, but they move so well, with their feet and their footwork and everything. And I kind of want to take that and add it to my game. And just the way they lift weights and push themselves, I like that. I like that intensity and that sense of competition. So I like working with the football players more. But we do that every single day, and we get ready to go every single day. And fall of 2021, I re-signed a deal to return to Panteras de Aguas Calientes to go back to Mexico, the same team that I signed with my rookie year. They had a new coaching staff, pretty much an entirely new team, minus one guy. And I was super excited because I felt like I was in probably the best shape I've ever been in my life. I had put so much work in to come in all these months leading up, coming from the pandemic, that I felt nobody in the world was more ready than I was. And when I got there, I showed it when we got to camp and we got to mini camp and training camp and preseason and everything. I felt like I was so consistent throughout, shooting the ball so well, playing so well, showcasing all these skills and everything that I had added to my game that they probably hadn't seen. Because I don't think I was this far ahead when I first got there. But for whatever reason, the coaches just weren't looking to give me an opportunity. And I spent a lot of time just sitting down, just waiting. And we're losing games big. Like we're losing big. We're losing by 25, by 30. And I'm just sitting there. I was extremely, extremely frustrated. And for like the third or fourth time, we're going to run it back to having that support system. Because I was there. I was going crazy. I didn't know what else to do. I was working so hard in practice. I was doing all the little things. I was trying to be a great teammate and be supportive. But, when reality kind of hits, like, hey, listen, I'm a pro. Like I get paid for this, just like the guy next to me. If I'm sitting here, I'm losing value because they're not utilizing me. And it'd be different if we were winning all these games. If we were winning games and he had to sit me, then, hey, he's got to do what's best for the team. We got to do whatever we got to do to win. But I'm not just going to sit there while we're losing and he's not giving me an explanation. And when we're in practice, what I'm saying? It's just kind of like during the game, I don't exist. What I'm saying? Like I'm invisible, but in practice, if I make one little mistake, I'm getting attacked as if I'm playing 35 minutes a game or something. Like he's coming down on me. Like if I'm, just yelling at me for a simple mistake, as opposed to another guy, he makes a mistake, then he may not rub. I felt like a punching bag almost. And in my whole career, I've never been a guy that's just run away. I've always been coachable. I don't care if a coach screams at me or anything. I can handle all of that. None of that is new to me. But it was just frustrating because it's kind of like, I kind of wanted, it's not about wanted or I deserved an opportunity that I wasn't given. And, time continued to go on and some other things happened behind the scenes to where I just decided it was best to just step away from the team. If they didn't have my best interest in mind, it didn't matter what they were paying me. It wasn't doing anything for me to come into the next season with some value to, come in, make a bigger check or whatever. So I asked for my release and I wanted to leave. And I think that it definitely shook up like the whole social media scene for sure. When the team announced it, there was just a ton of feedback from their fans. Their fans are super loyal, super active on the, on the Facebooks and wherever they stream the games. And all people were saying is, I can't blame them. Like I literally can't blame him. Just the only dude that looks like he wanted to be out there. He wanted to play. We want to see him. We know what he can do. We know how talented he is. And he just sat there. Like I wish him the best wherever he goes. And again, I asked for that release with nothing nothing ready waiting for me. It's just like, it's got to be something better than this. You know what I'm saying? Taking a gamble on yourself. So I asked for my release. I came back home. I was happy to be home and kind of felt like I was out of a toxic situation. And it was maybe a week later, I got the new deal to go to Norway, and I was on a flight on my way to Norway. So it's crazy how quickly things can change. I had been working so hard just to be ready for Mexico and all this in mind and all these goals and everything. And then I get there and it's not what you plan. And there I am in literally in the Arctic in 2 weeks. So just like that, things can change in that career. And that's why you gotta always stay ready.
Oh yeah, and how you mentioned everything happens for a reason. So maybe that whole transition was just like God telling you, like, look, this is not where you're supposed to be right now, and this is what you got to do to get out of here. And then boom, a week later, you're going to Norway.
Yeah, man, crazy. Like I still honestly can't wrap my head around it, just because everything happened so fast. And I remember just telling my family, what was next and where I was going and everything. And it's just crazy. It's hard for me to even get a grasp on it sometimes, but yeah. It's just the way it goes, I guess.
No, I bet you're going from one side of the country to the other side of the country to another side of the country and then back to the other side. It must have been crazy in your head. It must have been crazy for your family.
Yeah, I think in this profession, stability is a hard thing. I've had this talk with my mom a few times, and a few of my friends. Stability is a hard thing, man. Just because it's like, I feel like the normal thing to do would be like go to college, graduate from college, find a job, settle in, do your thing. For me, like every year I'd be playing for a contract to go play somewhere else or play in this place or play in this place. You don't really know where that's coming from, but you're just going with whatever sounds like the best situation financially, geographically, just everything, living situation. You got to know all these things coming in. And then whatever you decide is the best, you go there, you play for however many months it is, whether it's 8-9 months, then you come back home and then it all starts over again. And so it's really hard, man. Like it's so that's why I always say like it's a big word, stability. And that's why I feel like maybe this injury is a little bit of a blessing, because I always kind of have that when I'm home. I have like my routine and I'm around my family. I'm around people I know and love. So that's always an important time for me whenever I'm back, as far as being able to refresh and get ready for whatever's next.
Yeah. Yeah. So you end up going to Norway. What was that experience like? How long were you there for until this happened?
So I got there in October and I was there. I had my surgery January 18th. I got back here beginning of February. So from October all the way to February, pretty much. Okay. I was there the entire time. Yeah, I was there the entire time. And it was just like, day and night, really. I got an opportunity. I got the opportunity as soon as I got there. You know what I'm saying? I got what should have been happening. And he put me in the starting lineup right away. And I was playing 35 minutes a game, almost 40 minutes a game sometimes, and putting up numbers, performing, all that just needed to kind of be put aside for a second. And then once I was really given an opportunity, I was able to bring it out. Plus that added chip on my shoulder about what I had just gone through and stuff. So I was playing really well out there. The team was struggling before I got there. That's no secret at all. And I think when I got there, my leadership, my kind of tenacity, And ultimately, my skill set definitely put us in the right direction. Combining with some of the other players we already had, I think that adding me was just like a big time plus, not just because of the production on the court, but also like the camaraderie in the locker room and stuff afterward. I think that everybody that plays with me, I think for the most part, they love me. They know I'm going to go hard for them. Maybe I'm not always the easiest guy to play with because I demand a lot, but I also leave everything out there. So it's almost like a sign of respect. Like I would never just yell at you or get on you, but I'm not the one diving on the floor for loose balls. Like I'm always the one willing to get my hands dirty and stuff. So usually when I say things or it holds weight because people know what I do. People know what I bring to the table. So I think that they let me be the leader. And they would always tell me, man, we need you. Or, if I talk to them after a loss or something, man, we needed you out there. But sometimes when I think to myself, it's crazy because they came at a time where I think I needed them more than they needed me. Being able to play and have that platform was really important for me. And I was glad I was able to do it for sure. It's really unfortunate that the injury had to happen. But everything happens the way it's supposed to. I believe everything happens in mysterious ways. So I think there'll be a happy ending to this at some point, because this is an injury that depends on me and the work I put in order to recover. So I'm looking forward to that, but I'm also looking forward to the whole process, learning about myself through this. These types of things make you grow, not just as a player and an athlete, but literally as a person. And you learn about yourself when you go through these hard times, and they help you grow up. And so I'm looking forward to the good and the bad that comes with this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I definitely miss my guys over there, just a side note, but being a Miami boy and then packing it up and going to Norway where it's, snow everywhere. It literally looks like the inside of a snow globe where I was living. I'm telling you, bro, unbelievable. And just like freezing temperatures, snow all the way up to my hip. I mean, just completely different. It gets dark at 1:30 p.m. over there and it's dark all day. Yeah, man. So these are things I feel like people just write off when they say, oh, well, I'll just go play overseas. Like there's so much that comes with it, man. It's like basketball is the easy part. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I don't know, man, but I take every experience and try to take something from it. And I definitely enjoyed my time in Norway as far as the city and the people that I met there. Hopefully those are relationships that'll last a really long time.
Oh yeah, obviously I've never gone to Norway or play professional basketball over there, but I imagine what's going through your head. You got different time change. You said that the sun goes down at 1:30. You got people speaking different languages than you. You're a Miami boy, so that weather is completely different to what you're used to. It's just a lot of things that go on through your head. And like you said, a lot of people don't put that aspect in their mind of like, what is this player going through? What are the different things that he lives by each and every day?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So it's really tough. And that's why I encourage everybody who wants to get into this to consider, because you just hit it right on the nose. Your mental health is super, super important. And a lot of times when you're outside of the game, because while you're in the game, it's easy. This is what you prepare for. This is what you work for. You know how to play the game. And typically the American guys are the ones that are given the opportunity. You're going to be given the ball. You're expected to take and make shots. But it's the mental, it's being able to keep your head when you're off the court and finding ways to stay productive and also maintain your relationships with your family, despite the time change, your family, your friends, your girlfriend, whatever you got going on. All those things come together and it's really tough if you take that path and you play somewhere so far away, but hey, it's definitely, if done the right way, it can be a really rewarding career. You just got to be ready for everything that comes with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Right now, are you still in contact with that team in Norway going through
this
for sure.
Recovery? For sure. We still have our group chats and stuff. We all send funny pictures and all that kind of stuff to each other. They always send me words of encouragement to continue to work and get better. I got along really well with those guys. And I still watch the games too. Now as they're closing in to get ready for playoffs. I wonder what they'll be like, what they're going to do. They know I'm pulling for them though. And we definitely still keep in contact.
Okay. So right now you're in the recovery process. You're ready to get back. I know you're itching to get back on the court.
Yeah.
The first thing that comes to your mind right now, if they will tell you that in a few months you're going to be ready to up and go and you could go back to Norway and play, what's the first thing that's going to pop up in your mind if they tell you that?
Well, I
I
mean,
know.
it's tough, man. It's tough because it's like, you know how hard this process is and how long this road is. That even if they were to just like surprise me in like 4 or 5 months and say I'm ready to go, I'd probably still take more time off just because of what I know about the injury and how I know about myself. I want to be really, really methodical with this recovery. And this other team, the team I was just with, Tromsø Storm, they voiced to me, all their support and stuff and how they would love to have me back. Um, they already kind of know a timeline that if I were to come back, it'd probably be for like the second stretch of the season or maybe right before the playoffs. And obviously, I've considered that just in my mind, but for right now, I try not to get so far ahead. I don't want to skip to the end of the book. I know that if I want a good ending, I'm going to have to write the story the right way. And that's going to be with all the daily things that need to get done in order to get to that point. So whether that's 7 months down the road, 10 months down the road, whatever it is, I feel like when I'm ready, I'm ready. So I won't try to rush that, but I definitely want to make sure that everything is ready to go for whenever that time is.
Yeah, man. I mean, you got your family rooting for you, your friends, your fans, everyone that knows about your story. Hopefully people check this out and they could listen to your story. We're all going to be rooting for you 100%.
My God,
keep going.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. You always have, bro. You've always been good, man. And always showing love, here and there. I know we just talked briefly, whether it be through Instagram or other social media, bro. But I always appreciate all the support and love you've given over the years, man. And I'm definitely happy for you. I want you to keep pushing for the sports broadcasting thing, going to school over there. You've taken the first jump already. So I definitely hope that all your plans and all your hard work comes to fruition as well, brother.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that. But right now, I got to give you your flowers. When we were kids and we were playing just in that Rockway little blue court with a double rim that they should have changed.
Triple rim almost.
They should have changed a long time ago. We knew.
I think it's crazy. I think it was new when we got there, though. I think it was like brand new when we got there. The floor, or they just laid out the concrete floor and the triple rims. But when we were kids, we weren't worried about knee injuries and stuff. We could have played there all day and played in the grass all day. Like, it didn't matter, bro. So that was good times, man.
Yeah, man. And there was someone else, again, like I said in the beginning, that we knew that you were going to do something with basketball. Obviously, there's other people out there that didn't, but you ignored all of that. You said, forget them. I don't care what they say. I'm going to do what I love. And honestly, give you props to that. Keep following what you need to follow, your dreams. Keep grinding. Keep recovering right now in the state that you're in. And trust me, man, you keep doing it the way you're doing it, it's going to come to fruition.
Appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that. It means a lot, man. Really does.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I appreciate you for giving me your time. I know you're a busy dude. Giving me your time to come on here, and
I'm happy to be here, bro. When you introduced it to me and you said that you were willing to do your story on me, I felt honored by that, bro. So I wanted to help out any way I can, man. I really appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Much love, man. Well, hey, whenever you want to come back on and talk some, you want to talk some NBA, you want to talk some.
We'll do a follow up in a few months, man, and we'll do it live from the gym so you guys can see some of the.
Oh, that would be awesome. The fans would love that for sure.
For sure, man. Maybe I'll get up to Orlando or something when I'm doing a little bit better, and we'll do one in person.
I got an extra room for you, bro.
Hey, there we go. No
expense.
Bro. Check. We done. We done with that one.
Hey, thank you again, Kevin, man. I appreciate you, bro, and keep doing your thing, man.
For sure, brother. Appreciate you for your time, man.
All right.